a dance party today. And on the fly, stopping at a Starbucks. So I didn't make it back to the studio in time, so we are on the fly today. We're going to be marketing your art today. So how's it going? What's up? Happy Wednesday. I really get uncomfortable doing these in public. I know someday I'll get used to it, and people don't seem to care, but hi, Paula. How are you? But we have a handout, which is very exciting. So, hey, Elaine. Nice to see you. So today, happy April Fools. Hey, Bonnie. All the screen readers popping on as always. Happy Wednesday. Happy week of April Fools. Did anybody get any pranks played? I didn't this week. It's because my son's away in college. Otherwise, you can count on him. So, yeah. So we thought about doing things for Foolish. So for those of you that are gatekeepers, I don't know, you screen readers. Hey, Susu. You screen readers get gatekeeper emails. I don't think you do get gatekeeper emails, but we talked about this week in our email blast, whatever, that there is a movie there's the giveaway. So when you go in there, you're going to see it's kind of cool. We are getting really organized. It's very fancy. We're getting very organized. And so when you go into, you'll need to put your name and email, but then you'll have, make sure you share, Doug. See, I'm on it. You'll be able to get a lot more handouts. And they also link to the YouTube channel. We're just getting very fancy around here. So we are categorizing now these Facebook Lives with handouts to go coincide with different topics. So today it's being your own boss. Greetings. Hi, Betsy. There's being your own boss. There's being a writer, there's being a reader, different categories, because we feel that as readers, you are artists and you need to be able to handle your own business. You are entrepreneurs. Thanks, Susu. She knows me too well, I think. I know Doug's very sharing. Sharing is caring. So when you get the handout for today, you'll have access to other handouts if you would like. So we're categorizing them, getting them organized, which was a gatekeeper's idea. So we do listen. Hey, Cindy, we do listen to you guys. I know. Maybe it doesn't seem like it, but we do. We really do. We do. Yes, he is. So, oh my, I don't know if you can hear the music. I actually moved because I was right under the speaker, but now we're getting some Elvis going. Okay, so it's going to be really hard for me not to just dance the day away. Nobody wants that. So today we're talking about marketing. Stay on task. It's going to be a really, really good. I can't listen to music while I do anything because I just start going off to music. So, and as you've seen in many times, I'm not a good multitasker. I don't think anyone is, but I'm really not. So anywho, sorry. Why does she say squirrel all the time? It's my favorite quote. So all of this has to do being a reader, being a writer, being an artist. Someone gave the greatest review today. This is not a squirrel moment. It might seem like it. About how we have an interesting perspective. I love that. Because there's a lot of stuff out there about writing and reading and, well, not so much about reading, but how to get your script past the reader. We do want to provide I was going to say an interesting perspective. We do, but we also want to provide a very supportive, and I think it even said, helping writers have potential. It makes me so happy because that is exactly what we're going for. Is we want writers to feel empowered. We want to be readers that empower writers, that empower producers, and we're really passionate about that. So super, super, super cool. So this is part of that. So really treating you as, can you hear it? Can you hear Elvis? So we really want to treat you like entrepreneurs because you are. If you are an artist, you are an entrepreneur. If you are an artist, you own your own business. It is show business after all. The whole thing's going to have dance breaks. Okay, so you're going to have to really help me out here. Stay focused. So there is a handout. Download the handout. And I'm just going to take you through, as we've built Hollywood Gatekeepers, we have learned quite a lot about building your own business, about, what it's like to carry your own business. And we're just kind of funneling what we learn straight to you. So, yeah, Elvis, baby. If I get a soundtrack today. Awesome. So we are funneling we're falling in love, and we're funneling basically what we've learned about marketing straight to you. So we are actually heading out tomorrow to Phoenix, beautiful downtown Phoenix, for a conference. So we're super excited about that. We're going to be learning more about kind of the future of what we might do with Hollywood Gatekeepers. We're going to try and get some good advice. That's the plan, that we can then pass along to you. So for Gatekeepers today, I thought I would just kind of do the basic, it's not 3, it's 5, my Lord, steps of marketing yourself, your business, your script, your art. If you sell art, this applies to anything. If you are being a script consultant, how you might get that business off the ground. It's basically apply it to whatever you're doing as an actor. Like, there's so many ways that you can apply this. And so I'm basically going to cover very loosely kind of 5 things that sort of make up the marketing thing. So I'm going to start with your niche or niche, however you'd like to say that, depends on where you're from. So basically, when you're deciding, if you're deciding that you are a reader, for instance, and you want to read scripts, is there a certain genre you will focus on? Or do you want to focus on scripts by a certain type of writer, a certain age or a certain race or a certain gender or whatever it might be? Is there a certain person that you would like to focus on as a reader? If you are Phoenix, where in Phoenix? In Phoenix. Where in Arizona? In Phoenix. I don't know where it's at right now. To be honest, that's tomorrow. I know I'm getting on a plane and it's landing. I know that. That's as far as I've gotten. So you want to try and figure out what is that, what they call a niche or your field of study. And the really interesting thing, and this is, I'm still learning this, is, and it's a bit counterintuitive, but is to narrow that thing down. Not you think, I want to write a screenplay that the whole world's going to love. I want to be a reader that can read every genre and everything. Well, you know what? You aren't going to like every genre. And it's not very fair for the writer if you hate horror films and you're covering their script. So, in the Arizona and the Phoenix. So, Raising Arizona. Okay, anyway, one of my faves. He smiled at me. Okay, I'm not. Oh boy, here we go. I could do this all day. I love him so much. Anyway, son, you got a panty on your head. There's a million. Okay, sorry. You want to narrow that down. So you want to, focus on a specific thing. If you're a writer, it's to try and make a script that's combining a bajillion genres, you'll end up with a big old mess. So the more that you can narrow down what your genre is, and I'm not saying, I think there's some really cool, actually Doug and I have just been, we're going to be starting on a project that is combining 2 genres that I haven't really seen combined. And so that's kind of cool, but we're not combining 3. We're going to stick to 2. I think really when you start combining too many genres, and I actually think kind of the Marvel films, I like the Marvel films better that are focused on one Marvel character. That's just my preference. Then my head starts to spin. I get overwhelmed with so many characters. So I think, but in terms of marketing, absolutely. Because, and as you'll see as we move forward into what we talk about here, the more succinct and the more targeted down you can get, the easier it is to market. It doesn't mean that if you start out reading horror films, you can branch into reading other things. That's totally fine. But or writing a certain thing. Yeah, Doug. Hi, Barbara. I didn't see you pop in there. Do you go by Barbara or do you go by, I don't know, because I know Elizabeth is actually Betsy. Hey, and Paul, speaking of, is actually Chachi. I was getting to learn all of this. So, now we're dancing. Okay, sorry. So to narrow that down and to start out from that place makes it easier, and then you expand from there. Most people, I think, kind of the sort of general intuitive thing is that you're going to try and cast a wide net. People create a product and then they want to sell it to everybody, as opposed to finding out what does one person need and working your way backwards from that. It can be much easier to write a screenplay if you're very targeted and focused about what you're going to write about. Barb, good to know. Thanks, Barb. So that brings us to the second thing. My Lord, I had to do it. Is your what they call an avatar. Not the James Cameron film, which is awesome, but it's another word for your customer, your client. And then, in Hollywood Gatekeepers or in Hollywood Screeners, we talk a lot we do a whole thing, and what I've been covering with the acting thing. Oh shoot, I didn't bring my prompt, but next week I'll show you. It's really coming together. As I develop a character, we have this really detailed character analysis, and we actually use that to create our avatar. My notes are dying. To create our avatar. So if you have your avatar, sorry, pardon me, while I bring back up the flyer, your handout, I'm kind of making sure. So, oh, and I forgot. Good thing I'm using the handout, right? So in your niche, however you want to say it, the riches are in the niches, people say, because narrowing down. But you also want to you want to narrow it down. You want to look at what lights you up. What are the things that you love? So we kind of said that, but I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that, because like I said, if you narrow down into, like for me, sci-fi, or not necessarily sci-fi, but like I'm not a big fan. I always feel like I'm missing something with fantasy. I'm not a big fantasy fan in terms of like Lord of the Rings, those kind of movies. It just doesn't light me up. And so I can cover those and it's fine, but that's not where I start. So you want to start with a niche, or, narrow it down to something that you're really passionate about. Makes a big difference. So like I'm passionate about writing, but I'm really passionate about reading. So I can talk about reading and writing to some degree, but I love the reading process. I love what readers represent. I love the job that we have to help support writers and help support producers. Love it. Talk about it all day. Hi, Teresa. Nice to see you. You have the greatest last name ever. Read and write what you know. Anson's here, dropping Anson bombs. That's my new saying. I love it, because they're good. They are good. How's Steven? I didn't see you pop in there. Targeted marketing. Tell the garage band to quit rehearsing. I know. It's not a garage band. I have a place in my heart for garage bands. Being very familiar with them. Whole nother life. Anyway, so you do want to narrow it down. So then when we talk about your avatar, which is your customer, which for a writer is the characters that you're creating, you can apply the same thing. And I think it's one of the reasons why we have so much fun with Hollywood Gatekeepers is we developed a very succinct person. I mean, we did a character analysis on who that person would be that might be interested in Hollywood Gatekeepers, and that's who we started with, one type of person, and that's who we targeted first. That's who we did our marketing towards. That was our person. We named them. They have a name. We know where they live. Very specific type of person, and it worked beautifully because we felt that this type of person would be somebody that would be really interested in reading screenplays, and as it turned out, they were. Now we've branched out. We have a couple of different types of people. But when we first started, it was because what happens is as you grow and develop, people start making comments, and that feeds what you're going to say next based on the questions that they're asking. That's why we're so big on, would you have any questions? We're constantly bombarding you in every email, in every post, in every, we're always saying, got any questions? Because that informs what we want to give you. So, Barb is developing a fantasy script based on a fantasy novel. Nice. So I won't be reading that. I'm not the best person to read it. Let's put it that way. You would want to find a reader that loves that genre, because they're going to give you a better shot. Yeah, Anson does win all the prizes. He has all the answers, that Anson. He's Anson with the answers. It's an Anson bomb. So with your avatar, you want to talk about, you're looking at who are you serving? Who is the kind of client you would like to have? Again, what lights you up? What gets you excited? Who's the person you would most like to work with? And it's interesting because I've done other marketing with the haunted house for ones. I mean, some of you know that I've been involved in that market. I've done a lot of fundraising for a lot of different organizations, and all of those people that we're fundraising for or reaching out to are a little bit different. And some I like better than others. Some are easier for me to talk to than others. I had a little bit of a harder time with the haunt at first because I don't go to haunted houses. I love scaring people. I don't like being scared. I know that's terrible. But haunters were interesting because I had to kind of learn their language, because that's not the world that I hang out in. But once I learned it, wow, very specific, and very easy to talk to. Very certain thing. Just look at what Mickey posts. He's our poster child for haunts. So it is like a very specific thing. So see right there. And Elaine's a perfect person. Yep. And put it in the writer's room. There you go. So, yes. So I didn't know that about Alan. So, yes, Shri, I have to say, you are an avatar. You are the first type of person that we reached out to. And you know that she started as a gatekeeper, became a screen reader, and now she's actually on our team. So she made that progression, which is really funny because she sort of embodied the kind of person that we were reaching out to. I'm going to lay it out there for you. I don't even know if you know that. Do you know that? Maybe you do. But Alan is so, and you're both wicked smart. Alan was the very first person to sign up, and he was absolutely the target. So it is interesting how that works, right? It works beautifully. And so what we end up getting is people that are interested in screen reading, are interested in this thing, and we're having the greatest time ever because we reached out to the type of people that we would like to work with. We reached out to the type of people we thought would have fun with this, and there you go. So that's kind of how it works. So it makes it easier to figure out the messaging of the things that you want to write if you know who you're talking to. So like for the haunt business, for instance, I started looking at where do they hang out? What kind of Facebook groups are they involved in? Where are they? And then you can kind of just join those groups and watch how they talk to each other. And that's really, really interesting. The target. You are the target. So that brings us to the three, my lord, the next thing, which is your content. What materials are you going to create for them? Once you know who you're talking to, once you've narrowed it down, and once you know who that specific person is, then it becomes much easier to talk to them, right? You can come up with phrases that we come up with them in here every week, right? The wonk wonk people, one of my favorites still. We come up with stuff all the time. I get things from you all the time. And so because we started the conversation, you're having the conversation back. I love the questions that you ask. So yeah, definitely you guys can private message each other. We love that. There's a lot of that going on, which I'm loving. I love all of the stuff that's happening with Chase's movie. That's awesome. You guys are jumping on that bandwagon. Love that. So there's, the more that you can kind of narrow down what you're doing, the easier it is to create the content. They are awesome screen readers. They are spot on, as a matter of fact. So, you get them, then your marketing materials, and you can also create videos like we do, and you could do Facebook Lives. You can do all kinds of content where you are speaking directly to that particular person who you want to work with. And it works pretty much with anything. So, and we've also, if you want to do other side things while you kind of get this off the ground and you're already teaching some kind of class, learning this stuff to be able to get more, students in whatever you're teaching works, it works pretty much in anything. It's kind of amazing. And as Doug and I learn about the online experience and how to create online businesses, we are meeting people from all different kinds of businesses. We are in a mastermind, and one of them, she does lessons on how to do crystals, like how to do crystal meditations, so different than what we do, right? And you guys have met Kathy. We're in a mastermind with Kathy, who does Get a Book Deal 101. She guides people through getting an agent for their book deal. She's amazing. She's a force of nature. Love her. We also are, we're in a mastermind with Amy Berman, who does casting. She's brilliant. Like, really, she's a little more, there's some continuity between us, but she's very much on her own thing, and brilliantly so. And we're meeting people that do a lot of, teachers, and there's a woman that teaches people how to make door hangers, and there's just like pretty much how to do false eyelashes, there's like pretty much musicians, like so many topics. So this works for anything. And if you want to get some kind of side thing going while you're figuring out what you want to do, this is a way to, once you learn it too, once you learn these skills, you just, rinse, repeat, apply to whatever it is that you want to market. So once you kind of have this idea of what you're going to write, to talk about, kind of the holy grail of all of it is the email. And I know it might seem, a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at that and think, oh, email's dead, you can't communicate. But I still check my emails all the time. I sign up for things and look on things via email. Email is our easiest way of communication still. Even with all the bells and whistles of social media, email is sort of still the more one-on-one, just kind of, basic thing of communication. So that's why why we do things. That's why when you get the handout, we have you enter your email address so that we can tell you more about what we're doing. It is still, because and people say, oh, I don't want to send emails. Nobody wants my email. But you're all grown adults. If someone doesn't want our email, we encourage them to unsubscribe. Totally fine. Don't take it personally. We know we're not speaking to everyone. It's that same thing, going down to, we only want to speak to the people that want to hear our message. That's what we're about. We want to speak to those people that are passionate about writing, passionate about reading, passionate about helping writers, passionate about helping producers. We are very specific. Being entrepreneurs, all of those things. So that's where we really want to focus our time and focus our energy. Her name is Kathy Varick. So if you in the search bar of Hollywood Gatekeepers, just put Kathy, Kathy Vereecke, and we did a Facebook Live with her that should be in here, right? It's the one with the circus curtain. Did it end up in here? I think it did, because it was kind of a debacle, and I ended up posting it on my personal page. But I think if you just Google that, it should pop up. I mean, not Google it, but put in the search bar in Hollywood Gatekeepers, it should pop up. So hopefully that you can find that. And we need to have her back on again, because she's really spectacular. So we'll do that soon as well. We'll tell her that there's been an ask. People want to see more Kathy, because we actually barely, yes, it's 2 words though. VER is 1 word, and then there, Doug did it. So we should have her back for sure. She's awesome. So the greatest thing about being a gatekeeper is that most of you are already writers. If you're a reader, you are a writer. So the whole email thing becomes, you can figure out what to write, and you can really it becomes this whole exchange that you can do. Yes. It's so funny, Chachi. I read that A Journey of 1,000 Words Begins with a Single Step. Isn't that funny that I read that? It's miles, not words, but words works too. Exactly. You guys are so awesome. I love it. Yes, she is super interesting and really hilarious. Kathy is really hilarious. Cracks me up on the regular. We're always sharing. So the other day, I got an email from Pretty Links, which is a company that makes it so that instead of your link to something being the links that we give you, these big long links, I thought, you know what, let's try and make that so it just says whatever it is. And then they sent an email, and sent an email. This has happened, I think, at least twice, where they send an email and then they send an email right after that. Sorry, the link was broken. Pretty Links is sending broken links. That makes me feel so much better about my whole life. We all are just doing our best, right? Anyway, so of course I had to forward that to her, because she was like, wait, am I getting this right? The link on Pretty Link is broken? Okay, because that's their whole business? Okay, anyway. Okay, so you're already writers. So half the battle for you, like I said, we're in all these groups and we're learning all this online stuff, and it's really interesting because people post examples of their work. Boy, and you can tell the writers and not the writers. It really is like night and day, someone that can write as opposed to someone that's trying to wing it. Big difference. So that's a whole nother field for you guys that are writers. There's a huge world out there of people that need people that can write. Huge. It's copywriting basically, but people that can write emails, that can write advertisements, that can write. And if you're a clever writer, it's not that hard, and you know who you're talking to. That's the key. You know who you're talking to. So so that kind of comes down to your plan. Like, where do you start? She does get deals done. She's amazing. She's amazing. She really will walk you through it. And she goes well above and beyond providing service. That's one of the reasons. All of the people that we are hooking up with and that we work with, we do these masterminds, and we are very choosy about both masterminds that we join and masterminds that we allow people in. And it's people that really want to serve others, and she's like a million times that. She's amazing. So this kind of comes down now to mapping it out, figuring out your plan, figuring out what it is that you want to do. Seriously, like sitting down and writing out, just stream of consciousness writing. What is it that you want? What do you want? Is it that you want to sell your screenplays? Is it that you want to be a reader? Is there some other field? Are you an art painter? Is there a different, other artist? Are you an actor? What is the thing that you want? Who is the potential person that you might be working with? And then what can you do to get to that person in terms of where are they? Where do they hang out? What kind of verbiage do they use? Like, what kind of language do they use? Where, you can go into Facebook groups to find other writers, whatever. You can kind of listen to, like, what are the problems that people have? What kind of problems can you solve within that? Like, there's just so much. So this is just tapping a tiny bit. So, sorry. I'm sitting in front of a window and people are walking by, and I'm like, my hand's waving, and someone just waved, like, for a second, because they were one of those, like, oh, she's not waving at me. Control myself. Yes, people who need people. I'm not going to sing. I got enough music going on right now. So it is like I am barely tapping the surface in all of this. And some of the greatest teachers, there's a wonderful podcast that we've learned so much from Amy Porterfield. She's amazing. A lot of free information there about this whole concept of marketing. And then as screen readers know, I'm a total geeky, ridiculous fan of Eben Pagan. And that's the holy grail to me of marketing. The guy's a brilliant genius. So really interesting stuff, and so I'm learning a lot from him just still every day. I snap up everything that he offers. So I have just barely tapped into it. And so, but those are kind of the just really like overview of the general idea. And then within each of those 5 things, there's a whole wealth of ways that you can go. And, through YouTube and Instagram and social media, we didn't even cover. This wasn't even a social media training. This was just the kind of 5 basic things of marketing. So maybe at some point we'll do what's a funnel and the kind of whole next thing. We'll continue. Yes, I'm at a Starbucks. Yes. So, yes, well, I won't tell you my whole story. No reason for that. But on the road, story of my life. It's actually EBEN, Pagan. So, so I stopped, and so screen readers, I should be back to my normal spot. I'm going to jump in my car and head to the studio, which I'm not far away now. So that's the deal with kind of the general thing of marketing. So make sure that you download that handout. Doug, can you post that link again just so it's handy? And go ahead and download that handout. Feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to ask if there's other trainings you would like to see. If you want to expand on one of these things or another, we'd be happy to do that. And then other things too. If there's other things you'd like us to do, we do have some guests lined up that we're really excited about. We are heading off to a conference tomorrow. I'm sure we'll learn a whole bunch of things there that we can share with you. And then, so we're off to the conference this week, and then next week I'm back at the theater again. So as I learned, the director of that show, who is also the artistic director of the theater, is just a genius. He's brilliant. Learning so much from him and just having such a great experience with that. And thanks, Doug. I will definitely be sharing more about that with you. So, and then let's get Kathy back on as a guest ASAP, because she's phenomenal. So do you guys have any other questions, thoughts, Wednesday, pranks, anything, songs to sing? I don't know this song. Yeah. There's like a time period where all of my music, as my son was growing up, became, whatever he was listening to. So if he didn't listen to it, I didn't hear it. Yes, podcasts. We've been busy editing podcasts. It's coming out April 1st. Yeah, didn't quite make April 1st, but very soon. So there's a lot of bells and whistles with that. That's been a huge learning curve as we move forward. But we're getting really, really close now. We've got several edited, and the podcast will coincide with the YouTube channel, which is also you can go ahead and look at the YouTube channel is live. You can look at it, Hollywood Gatekeepers on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. Yeah. You end up, the wiggles, whatever. So that was, it was 3 days ago. Yeah. I know. Well aware. Yeah. So, but we're much closer. We keep setting these deadlines, but luckily it's our business, so we can do whatever we want. But it is like, that's why we've been kind of talking about it in here, but we haven't like posted or broadcasted it until we know for sure what the deadline's going to be. So we set these goals and we do our best to stick to them. But we have so many things going on and so many cool things happening, and lots to share as we keep going. We'll have more to share next week. Hey, Toy. Informed and entertained. Yay! With our dance parties. I don't know this song either. Got no clue. Doug has been very busy editing the podcast. Because I edited the first one, and I was super self-conscious, so I edited out all my breathing. So he's like, it sounds like you did it in one breath. And I was like, yeah, I think I edited that out. And he's like, it sounds very weird. I was like, I know. So we had to edit back in my breathing. Because I do need to breathe. I do. I know. I forget that sometimes. Yoga with Adrienne, folks. That's how you learn to breathe. So we will see you next week. I think I'll be back down in San Diego. That's a good one. Sure. Yep. So Paul's saying, I'm working on building up the ask. So it would be helpful to maybe have a live session on that. The power of the ask. Absolutely. That's a big one. It's a big one that a lot of people have trouble with. How do you ask for things? I don't have trouble with that. I could ask anyone for anything. That's why once you work as a fundraiser, that goes out the window. Someone got wait a minute. My niece's birthday is April 1st. She got an early birthday present the day before, an engagement ring. Woohoo! I told her it's a good thing he didn't wait for her birthday, right? I was going to say, wait a minute. She got engaged on April 1st? Yeah, I do have super lungs. You're right. No, that's not true. So, yes, Doug had to, like, edit in 26 breaths. So, there you have it. We will be back next week. And, yeah, Power of the Ask. I'll put that on the list for sure. All right, you guys, have a good week. Have a good weekend. Happy April. And we will see you next week. All right, talk to you soon. Thank you. I'm going to dance my way out. Is that even English?